Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan on the couch with us, joining us today from the Orlando Talk Show. From the Orlando Talk Show, not the Orlando Talk Show. Oh my God! I just Don Imus to your show. From the Orlando Talk Show, it is our good friend Ross McCoy.
Hey, everybody!
What's up?
What's going on?
Nappy-headed hole. He really stepped in it, didn't he? Oh
Yeah.
man, I think he would have been okay if he hadn't had a
He's
cowboy.
still been doing it.
If he hadn't had a cowboy hat on, I think it's okay. I think the cowboy hat was the exclamation point that took him down the toilet.
Do you think he knew
Oh, he
like
Minutes
five
later.
Mississippis later? He's like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, my
Because
he knew.
he has like live
This has
listeners.
happened to
that-
us before. I've said things before live on the. Well, not so much now because we're not really live. We're sort of live. But I remember doing morning radio where somebody said something, and then like minutes later, somebody comes in, pokes their head in, says something, does something, and then you're like, oh man, well this has just changed the trajectory of the day. The day is different now. It's a different day now. We're gonna have to go talk to some people, get yelled at.
My recollection at the time was that he doubled down and like defended himself. I think that
you're
was
right.
I kind of remember him being like,
With
well,
the cowboy hat.
Well, look at her head. I'm just talking about the facts on the ground. Like I remember a lot of like old man.
Someone should have said, just say you misspoke and you
just say you're confused.
Yeah.
Just say you're confused.
Yeah.
But we're
Isn't
talking about a guy who famously like thought he could fight Howard Stern too. So like this guy not really based in reality.
Yeah, you're right.
Is he still alive? Did he die?
No, he died.
Oh.
He died. I believe he died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I spent the whole weekend watching Beetlejuice videos. The whole weekend because my daughter's dance crazy. So when my daughter is doing amazing human accomplishments, when she's doing things, I'm like, wow, how did she do that? I have to go and look at people that I'm like, also the opposite direction. I'm like, wow, I have to go opposite direction. So
Yeah.
I go straight to Beetlejuice. I load him up. He is better than ever. Oh my God! They did a new. There's a new segment. It's called "I Tell You About the Stern Show." They did a new bit where they after all of this
It
time.
better not be Explosion of the Week.
No,
right?
they asked
Okay.
everybody that has to handle one of these guys. They asked all the staffers that have to handle these guys which one's the worst. Which one's the worst one to handle?
Okay.
They did like a competition.
Yeah.
And it was serious. You can go watch it on YouTube. It's the only time that I've ever seen Robin, Howard, all these people that we grew up with being serious about it, and they did come to an answer, and it's Sour Shoes. He's the craziest.
Sour Shoes?
Sour Shoes, the worst.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
that.
Oh, wait, a little after your time.
Yeah.
Sour
Okay.
Shoes is great.
Okay.
Oh, he's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Look at Bo. He's so great.
Yeah.
He does some of the best impressions I've ever heard of Sour Shoes. He does a Gary Dell'Abate that you cannot tell the difference. Like, seriously, you can't tell the difference.
Is he an impersonator?
No, he's a crazy person.
Oh, okay.
He's an insane
Oh,
person.
okay.
And he's difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite. Is the
Yeah.
guy that like.
I thought we'd have that by now. Like, this show
Yeah.
should have some people that we have to, like, I wouldn't nominate Ross to do it, but, like, I do trust you the most. Like, there was a time when Ross would have to go and help us wrangle the unfortunates into the show, and I trust Ross. Ross would be like,
Ross is good at it.
Yeah, Ross is really good. And Ross is
I
like,
get
this
too
guy,
awkward,
Ross
yeah.
is like, this guy's freaking out, man. He tried to kill me in my van while we're driving over here. Like, right?
You don't even know. At the fireworks tent, I am
Yeah.
the designated crazy man dealer with person.
know you
Like,
are.
and like people will come up to me and be like, "You're so good at that. How did you learn how to do that? Like what is
Improv
that?"
skills, dude.
I honestly don't even know what I do.
lunatic
honestly don't
improv
know.
skills.
Yeah.
You were born to deal with problems.
Lunatics, yeah.
He can handle a problem, and he can
Yeah.
handle a person. He can handle an insane person.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a skill. I think I definitely think that's a skill.
Like we had a guy come up to the tent one day and like, we have an entrance on the east side of the tent. He approached the west side of the tent and tried to walk through the fence. Like for several minutes. And I
fence
went over,
walking.
I talked to him for a couple minutes, and like he just walked away after a little bit. And like we walked away, and he was dropping his money, and I was like, "You dropped your money, sir," and he picked up his money and just walked away. And people were like, "How the hell did you do that? That man was trying to walk through chain link."
Yeah.
And you talked him down and got him to leave.
Ross could do that.
You know what it is? Is Ross can create a problem, so therefore he knows how to handle
He's
it.
a creator. He's a creator and destroyer of worlds.
Because like I try to avoid problems
Yeah.
my whole life. Like
Ross is in the problems.
Yeah, Ross will go up and be like, "I'm gonna tell this person something." Like Ross will
This
do
person
that.
see.
looks like they need a problem.
Yeah. So like I'm just trying to avoid everything. So if there's a problem, I'm the worst person to try to handle it because I don't know what the hell to do. But Ross You're perfect.
You're saying I've spent my life building steel structures, so I know exactly where to put the demo charges to take it down.
For sure. 100%.
Okay. Before we start, let's talk about.
Oh, we didn't start?
This is not even the beginning.
Me and Ross
Holy
are
cow.
chugging down the track. We're talking about crazy people, Don Imus, talking about Howard Stern, sour
My A
shoes.
stuff.
Yeah, me and Ross are having a great time, but what are you doing over there? What did we mess up your? What are you going to tell us something serious now?
I want to plug David Jolly's show that Ross is going to be at the Orlando Funny Bone, formerly the Improv, this Thursday. And Jolly's headlining, and Ross is you hosting the show?
Yep, I'll be hosting, and it's gonna be a good time. Jolly picked out a bunch of great comedians. I don't know who, but I just trust Jolly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
He's certainly not unpredictable at all.
Dude, I've been catching up on Jolly's podcast. I've been listening to him on Kill Tony, and like he's everywhere. He's going. I don't know what's up with Orlando, but everywhere else he's going is adding second shows and third shows, the places that he's doing. So like he's doing it. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, that's killer, man. To see these guys go out and then like do it. Not only doing it, but doing it at the highest level in a comedy city with other comedians that are killing it as well.
I had a little bit of a drive yesterday, so I was kind of thinking about it, and I got a little bit teary-eyed thinking about the time. Like I was a tumbleweed at Smiling Bison, and I booked D-Rug. I was bringing D-Rug out.
Yeah.
And somebody had dropped out like right before the show, but Marcus Crespo was there just watching the show. So I was like, Crespo, you want to do 10? And Crespo was going to go up, and that filled my time. And I walk outside, and D-Rug's there, and he's like, hey, this is my friend. Can my friend go up? And like I was so close to saying no. Like I was doing the tally.
You love saying no.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
I was doing the tally, and like I just added Crespo to the show. I got enough people. I got enough time. I don't know this guy.
Had you chambered a walk home? Did you have one ready to go?
I may have like taken a breath of air to say it, and I was like, you know what? What the hell? Let's put this guy up. And that was David Jolly, and that was his first set. And and then from there, just off to the races.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I texted him a little bit yesterday because he wanted to double check to make sure he was still free to come in. I think we're getting him fresh off the plane, possibly on Thursday. I just come by. Because he asked, and he's like, do you have anything going on? He's trying to be like very professional. He's like, I don't want to step on it. I'm like, just come by. You're fine. If you're coming by from the airport, we're on the way home. So just swing through. We'll put you on and talk to you. But yeah, it is cool to see what's happening. Is Austin still considered the place now? Is that still?
I think so. It seems pretty hot from like what I hear. Yeah.
It seems like there are a lot of places and venues opening up, and the internet is allowing you to promote your venue without having to be established or whatever. So it's like there's a lot more place. I mean, I remember when Ross was breaking into doing comedy at
I remember when he was breaking into cars. Like at this Publix.
Yeah.
Like during lunch, we'd walk over there, pull handles.
Rolling and change.
At other like bars, and they're just
Even
trying
the
to
other
make,
bar.
Yeah, we're even trying to make other venues, comedy venues, and now it seems like there are established comedy venues all over the place now, and it's not like there was 10 years ago where it's just like, oh, there's one and then maybe a couple others.
But is this considered, like, because you're in it, Ross, is this considered a like renaissance of comedy? Or because I also see my like stand-up friends complain a lot about the social media aspects or the crowd work aspects or the, there's like a bit of a debate on whether or not this is a golden age. If you hear some people that say like, look at what Rogan's doing for comedy, look at the mothership and all this, look at Austin. And then you have some other people that are like, I mean, like maybe there, but across the board, it's down. So
I'm going to say it was probably like that every boom. I'm probably going to say like in the 80s when there was a big comedy boom and there was clubs everywhere. There probably was a lot of terrible stuff out there too as well then. Like, but there's a wide dichotomy of like you have places like Austin where there's this huge concentration of clubs and comics and everybody's trying to make everything better. And then you also have TikTok where like people have millions and millions of viewers and are doing street jokes and like dumb setup videos that are obviously not real and like terrible form, and people are eating it up with a spoon. Yeah. So you got a really wide gap. But in terms of just what I see on the ground, like there's places like where I did Tumbleweeds years ago that are like they have regular comedy nights now. Bug Nutty out in Cocoa. Like we did like a Tumbleweed there once. They do comedy like every week now out there, and there's a lot of places like that. So I think there's kind of like there used to be a gap of like your professional shows, your bonkers, your improvs, your stuff like that, and then you just had to open mic. Now there's a lot of stuff in the middle. There's bar shows, and it's the paying stuff sometimes too. I think it's a really good, if not a golden age, like a silver to maybe a rose gold age. Let's call it the rose gold age. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So just go to funnybone.orlando.com to get your tickets for the David Jolly Show.
Do not search Orlando Improv. They have wiped that from the internet. It is gone.
Yeah, you'll never find it. You'll be lost in a sea of zeros and ones, never to return.
There's an eclipse today. I don't know if you heard about it.
I mean, like, are we done with that? Like, where, like
just go to the Science Center if you want to, watch it properly.
Have you been called by your son's school 100 times from the principal?
I have got
assuring-
90,000 emails from the school.
Yeah, they are telling me that they are protecting my kids' eyeballs. They are like, we know that these kids are dumb. And I respect that from our principal. Our principal is like, no BS. He has called me 6 times. Also, I'm on some, like, they put my number in Orange County, like, 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
So I get called like 6 to 8 times.
Well, you get the text that they're about to call,
Yeah.
and then you get the call, and then you ignore that call, and then you get the notification that they left you a voicemail. 3 or 4 times.
yeah. And I never even look at it.
Yeah, Tracy in our Twitch chat room, she says, I kept mine home today. Why?
Because of the eclipse.
Were you worried about him looking at the sky?
To watch the eclipse.
Is that why you brought him home?
Because the thrust of the emails from our school was like, we are not letting them outside to watch the eclipse. Stop asking us. There's
not mine. Mine was like, look, I assure you that either our teachers will have the goggles. They'll have the right goggles.
No,
which, by the way, I did provide.
Or the cereal box with the hole.
Yeah, the cereal box with a hole. Which I've had. My dad had one of those for years.
Tom's wearing his underpants.
Yeah, so, but no, they were like, look, we're on it, but like it wasn't like you have to stay home because it's too dangerous for you.
Yeah. Also, like the sun's out there all the time, and it was like, if they don't know not to look at it by now, then it's fine.
There's so many jokes I would have made about like I can't send him, he'll look at it.
I thought you were gonna say make your own eclipse. Like the sun's out there all the time, just hold something in front of it.
Yeah, look at it. See that shadow? That's basically it.
I do like the average person just not even walking out of their office door to look at it or whatever, just going about their day. Just nothing. It is like an impressive thing that I guess, it did happen last year, but I don't know if it will happen. It'll be a while.
It'll be 20 more years.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 54.
They always say that, and then there's another one.
Yeah. We forgot about this one. I'll snuck up on it.
Yeah.
Another thing that's weird about this is that, like I know that I think, and I blame Kennedy Space Force, what are we calling it now? I blame all of that. Nothing in the sky. If you live in Florida, I've seen so many things in the sky that I'm over things in the sky. And I know you and your wife hate me when I say this, but how many Starlinks do we have?
Rocket launchers.
I mean, there's so many
we'll still all go out in the backyard as a family and watch the rocket launcher.
I will never look at it. No, I'm done. I've seen enough of those.
Crystal's mom comes over.
No.
It's a whole event at our house.
No, I'm done.
I'm with you. We're spoiled. Like if it was a night launch, we'd go and sit in the field across the street and watch. And now it's like, oh, another one.
Maisie doesn't care. She does not care. I asked her, I'm like, look, there's a rocket. She's like, I don't care. She's like, I'm on my iPad watching cartoons. But the eclipse is like, and all the things that people think are going to happen. My favorite is the one where the X over Maconda.
Right.
There's a city in North America called Maconda, and the pathway of this solar eclipse is going to form an X over Maconda, and apparently it's going to open the ground.
This one and the last one, right? The last two, I think.
Yeah.
It makes an X.
And it makes an X, and then the ground's going to open up, and apparently Attack on Titan level-sized giants are going to fly out of the earth and then just start grabbing humans by the handful and eating them like Pez. That's what I heard.
Oh.
At least it's happened over in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time.
Now, are they biologically alive or are they robots?
No, they're biologically alive, but they're...
Well, that means they can't be
They
killed.
have no genitalia. They have no genitalia.
Okay, that's a good thing.
And they're monsters. And some of them are big, like the Attack on Titan, those guys, there's like one big main one that he'll even eat the little one.
These are like your Goliaths. From
Yeah,
the
they're
Bible.
just like
yeah.
you can't even
Okay.
fathom how big these things are. Like they could, like the main one could scoop the globe up and just pop it in his mouth.
Is he on the globe?
The globe that he's emerging from?
Yeah,
I'm starting to lose
yeah.
the thread
Yeah,
now. I was
yeah.
with
Oh,
you,
it's
but
insane. It's like
Don't think about it, Ross.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
scary.
we did it big last eclipse. What was it, like 6 years ago? Did I ever tell you guys about this? Okay,
No.
so one
Is
of
this
your
the one where you camped?
yeah
Oh yeah.
one
yeah.
of your listeners may had like a lake house in the what's up shampoo in the path of the totality, and he was like, hey, any of you guys want to come hang out at my lake house? Come on up and you can camp out, whatever. There's like 4 bedrooms, but if you want to sleep in the yard. And so my wife was nuts about that eclipse at that time, so we packed up the kids and we drove up to, I think it was North Carolina for it.
Yeah, I remember this.
And it was wild at that time. The rumor at that time, we got up into North Carolina and the radio was all abuzz about the fact that the eclipse was going to bring out the lizard people in the hills. This was being reported as
lizard people.
a news story. Yeah, that in North Carolina hills.
Repeat, lizard people in the hills will descend upon the general store and eat up all of our cinnamon candies.
So we were all excited about that, and then we got to Shampoo's house, and we were late because the kids got like sidetracked us, and we got there. We got there like 2 in the morning or something like that, like real late. Everybody was asleep, and we go to putting our tent together, and we hear this like weird splashing down in the lake, like splashing, and then we start hearing like some noises.
Oh my God, it's
and,
Don Imus.
and we're all juiced up on lizard people talk, so we're
Yeah.
like, grab the flashlights, let's go see what the hell this
you're ready
is.
for adventure.
And one of the campers had like gotten hurt in the lake and like not been able to get out of the lake and was just like flailing around in the lake all night. And they had called
For hours, and you descended upon a drowning camper.
And then they had called the ambulance, but the ambulance was having a hard time finding them. So like we had to go find the ambulance, bring them to this person, and then it became this whole big rescue operation.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it was like, and in the middle of the night, and maybe I was on mushrooms because my wife was
this'll-
driving. Like,
this'll kill my
Did
buzz.
this actually happen?
I swear, if I could make stuff up like this, I would be at home writing scripts. Like, it was,
This'll kill your buzz. When something serious happens, when you're
in the-
buzzed.
Was he like in like waist deep water? Was he out in the lake? What the hell
so we
was
got
he doing in there?
out like we got them in the ambulance and out, and then we set up our tent and went to sleep for a while, and then we got up the next day, and the story was everybody been messing around in the lake during the day, and this person, I guess maybe like one of those aluminum ramps kind of coming up out of the lake or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a ladder or something. Somehow they messed up their foot trying to get out of the lake, and then just there's like a little shallow spot, like a little beachhead. They just couldn't get up and out, and like it was like a Humpty Dumpty situation. Like everybody tried to help them get out, and every time they would get them, my foot, I can't.
Was this an overweight hillbilly that like?
No comment.
Okay. Okay. All right.
He said it was a Humpty Dumpty situation.
I know. I picked up the clues too.
spent
I'm a junior Ross detective too.
All
I
the
picked-
king's horses, all the king's men type of thing. Like everybody tried to get Humpty Dumpty out of the lake,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Humpty couldn't get out of the lake, and
I'm too
eventually
fat.
everyone was just like, "All right, well, we're going to sleep. Have fun in the lake."
Good night, Dumpty. There is a good night, Dumpty scenario where you have to just leave them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's,
You wouldn't.
That's
You
manslaughter. Just leave someone there like, I am sorry. I'm too tired
What
of
if you
pulling
don't
you.
feel like they're putting enough effort in? What if you're like, you just want us to drag you up this beachhead? Don't you, Dumpty?
I think you have to. You're obligated to save a.
No,
a
we're on
human,
land.
No
That's
matter how much
maritime law. You're saying maritime law.
Uh-huh.
Maritime law, I do believe you are forced to assist a Dumpty in need. But if you're on land and the Dumpty, you don't feel like the Dumpty's giving you enough like oomph,
And
I
if,
feel like you can
and
abandon.
if the Dumpty is insisting, no, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Are you gonna jam that
Yeah, yeah.
eggshell
Oh.
in there? No.
I love a polite Dumpty. They don't want you doing nothing. They're just like, it's fine. Just leave me here to die.
So before we get into some news and explosion of the week with
Yes,
Ross,
Yes. I cannot
Or
wait.
surprise. I have a surprise.
Yeah, he has a surprise of the
okay.
week too.
I do want to ask Ross how he feels about my theory that if you win the Powerball, your life will be objectively worse
Okay.
than if you didn't. So there's
Is there a timeline on that?
okay. There was a person in Washington that won 1.3 billion in the Powerball. I think the payout is 621 million
Okay.
if you
Jesus
take the
Christ.
lump
It's a
sum.
cash,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, my God.
So I'm just now doing the math here of the person. If you play the Powerball and maybe you probably play it often if you do. You know, it's like a once a week type of deal.
You got a folder that you keep your pencil and your numbers in,
and then you hit it 600 million, right? I've thought, because Crystal the other day, she bought the Powerball ticket and she hates when I say
it's in the blood. You guys have to buy it, right?
No, I say 0% chance of when she gets mad. I'm like, it's impossible to win.
She's a
no
dreamer.
one wins. She's like, well, one person wins. I'm like, that's not how statistics work. Anyway, she is a dreamer. But I told her, and she was like, oh.
Why not just let her have the lottery ticket? Why do you have to like?
Because I have to teach my sons. I'm like, don't play this. It's a complete waste.
Yeah, but aren't they dreamers too? I mean, don't you want them to have fun? Don't you want to have sex? Let me
apparently not.
Let me say it a different way. Let me say it a different way. See, Ross picked up what I was saying. That don't you want to hug your wife nude?
Or let her have the minuscule amount of positive benefit from this, which is the hope. You do until the drawing. You have just a little bit of hope that maybe you will win.
You don't like hope?
She knows I'm lying because I've said this so many times. So even if it didn't
don't say anything.
If I said good luck, she'd be like, "You're lying."
That's passive aggressive. You can't do passive aggressive. You got to just like drive or just like act like you didn't see or buy it.
Dan, turn off the mics. I'm gonna tell Tom a secret that like I don't think we can let out there to the regular people.
3, 2, 1. Okay, mics
Tom,
are back on.
Your wife doesn't care if you're lying or not. If you just say the things she wants to hear, she'll be happy.
You say that, Ross,
drives him crazy.
But she knows how I really. Okay, if we go somewhere I don't want to go, and I just sit there silently and look forward in the car.
Well, you're being passive aggressive.
Yes.
I can see it. I can see it in your eyes.
No,
You're being passive aggressive.
She's like, I can feel your misery.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking?
I can feel your
I'm
long
here.
sides. You do a long side.
No, I don't. I'm
you
just
don't
sitting
eye
there.
contact, long side, staring at the window.
You just said you're sitting there quietly, but if you sit there and go, hey, you know what, honey? I'm really looking forward to this. Whether or not you are, even if she knows you don't or not, she's going to be just happy that you're participating.
So anyway,
take me to the ticket. Take me to the ticket.
When she told me the other day, like, we didn't win the Powerball. And
Did
then,
you go, no? Did you yell her like, did you do that?
No,
I
kept it to myself.
As loud as you can.
No,
Did you say what Buford T. Justice said when his son said, the top came off, Daddy? I just watched Smoking the Bandit. I'm sorry.
You're going to get a lot of Smoking the Bandit. Ross just watched it, so you're going to get a lot of it.
It's so good.
I think I did do a passively aggressive, I know, we didn't win. But anyway.
Did you do really?
But I am serious, and I've told Crystal this before, where like, well, I'm glad because I truly believe that if we got a lump sum of $600 million, that it would make my sons' lives worse.
Castleberry, Mr. Beast, you'd be dropping Lamborghinis.
At the end of their life, and there's no way to ever prove this. It's impossible to ever prove. But I would bet large amount of money
would ruin them?
That their lives would be better if they didn't come into this amount of money than if they did. At the end, if you were able to measure it in some way, like just happiness, fulfillment, whatever it is, like I believe that kind of money would screw with your life so much and be so much of a stress and throw you, because then it eliminates anybody from ever being your legitimate friend.
Is it
Maybe
a
you can
poison
hide
of
it.
some sort?
It's a poison that I think would like actually make your life worse at the end of it, and then if you'd never won it at all. Now I know there's situations and people hear that and they're like, you're insane, and no one would ever deny it. Like if you, even me, that truly believes that it would make my life worse, I'd take it to see. You'd have to take it to see. But if you thought about it, I think that your life would be less fulfilled, and it would be ruined. Your normal, like a normal human experience would be ruined.
What amount wouldn't ruin? Like, so you get
where's the line?
Is there an amount that
hard.
you can keep, and then you take the other and go, okay, I'll play. You know, we know that we hear all these people say that if the billionaires with these spaceships would just give, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my lump sum of what I got. I'm keeping X for me to not poison myself, and then this other amount, I'm going to give it to the homeless. I'm going to, like, in my community.
So where's good in the world?
Yeah, in Orange County, Seminole County, Florida.
Sure.
I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to make some really good programs.
It's different for people that have already gone through most of their life. Like, we're talking as middle-aged, people that have gone through poverty, have been poor, have experienced life
man, middle
already.
age. If I make it to 90, that's a stretch.
No,
I don't know.
no,
I was gonna
yeah.
say,
Well, I'm
who are
just saying,
you talking to?
we've
My
already,
God.
So yeah,
I'm
you,
like 47.
I'm like
dude.
3/4.
Good Lord.
you give it to one of us or someone's listening.
Do the
that's already,
listeners know I'm in a wheelchair?
it's already
I'm gonna
experienced.
start that rumor. I'm starting that rumor.
That we may have fare better. I'm talking about our kids or anybody that like starts with, because they're never going to be able to experience a struggle or a life without in the back of their mind that they're set forever. And I know it's up to us to be like, all right, don't give your kids any money, make them work
But
for it.
don't they already think that?
But
Like, I don't think Maisie like, I'll use my kid. I don't think my kid right now has any concept of what she has. Like, she does not understand money.
No.
all.
My kids don't
Like,
either.
not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. And they're young now, but I'm saying, like, once you get to a point where, all right, you're out of high school, you want to start your education, then there's going to be like in your 20s, a time where you kind of have to make it. You get a job, you start working in the workforce, you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
pay some
like
bills.
Like I'm not gonna because I went through this, and I'm not gonna let my kids. And Ross knows that you know you've got older ones now. Like going through that struggle and learning how to deal with it is a pivotal part of being a human being in our society or whatever. And I think that's why people get so screwed up if they have an unlimited money fallback where it's like no matter what you do, fail, succeed, it's not going to really matter because you're not going to be, you're not going to be evicted or you're not going to lose your car.
It changes your baseline
Yeah.
personality. I see some of these kids around
How
here
hard are you going to do, like, you're going to feel the pressure that you need to feel sometimes to to experience, a balanced life. I don't know. I think it was just 600 million. I mean, this is
So
such
give me a
absurd.
number. What's the right number?
I
What
don't
can
know.
you keep?
I don't know.
$1 mil?
$1.
1 mil? Maybe 1 mil.
It's an impossible question because, of course, you're just going to take the money.
Is it possible,
I think it'll ruin you.
Is it possible? Well, yes, I think if you're playing percentages, but is it possible to not let it be? Not let it ruin you?
It is, but it's going to take away some normal life experiences that I think would be more beneficial to you at the end of your life.
See, you keep saying normal life experiences like that's important. I don't know that, like, what is it a big deal to go on the school field trip to SeaWorld, like, in the fifth grade or whatever? Or is it better to, like, be a partial owner of SeaWorld and go whatever you want? I feel like, I can make a case either way.
Well, but yeah, the fun, you can have unlimited fun, but I think unlimited fun
It takes away fun.
Then it will take it away.
Well,
It'll take the value away.
I'll give you, for instance, like,
if you can have everything, then the value of anything gets ruined.
well, we're dealing with that right now in a weird way with like TikTok and Reels. And
Yeah. Entertainment is unlimited.
You see a lot of these, you'll see a lot of these, and now because I'm saying this, you'll probably see a lot of these popping up in your algorithm.
Kiss or slap.
You'll see like a little infographic, and it talks about how much we are all addicted to dopamine.
Yeah.
And now there are these programs that are trying to get popular where you actively go into the program, and the program like denies you Reels, denies you TikTok, denies you social media, and instead it gives you like real facts and a book you're supposed to read, or 10 different things that you're supposed to do within a room. It's supposed to ground you, and it's supposed to actually break that addiction to social media and that instant dopamine that we all have. Like, I've talked about this before, even with alcohol, when you're using it a lot, even if you're not an alcoholic, what you've done is you just raised your pleasure senses to a point where it is literally impossible.
You've ruined it.
You can't get, and then alcohol requires you to get more and more, and you start trying to get more, and you just reach a point of infinite zero where you can't. So then the only way to go is backward. You got to get away from that constant dopamine pump.
Yeah.
And you got to almost get yourself back to like you got to detox yourself from that and then start over. That way you can truly appreciate something as simple as like watching a movie. People don't really do that. You get your phone out and you're watching the movie while you're scrolling.
Oh, yeah.
No. This is training you to sit down, and there's a 20-minute show, and you are going to watch the commercials. You're not going to fidget. You're not going to get your phone out. You're not going to look at your wife. You're not going to talk during it. You're going to sit there in the moment for 20 effing minutes, and you're going to watch the show, and that's going to mean as much to you as scrolling through that infinite sea of garbage.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
I was having trouble sleeping, like about the beginning of the year. We talked about it, Dan. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep, and it was really affecting me.
I'm going through that.
And I was like getting up in the middle of the night and going for like 2-mile walks 2 or 3 times a night because I couldn't sleep. And I figured out it was because like a couple of years ago, I just started watching He-Man on my phone while I fell asleep. And it was nice. It was like a nice little treat. I'd be watching, Skeletor, I'd be like, and I'd fall asleep, go to sleep. It'd be nice. Then I realized, like, I was watching TV while I fell asleep, and I was like, every 10 or 15 minutes, I was waking up, like, oh, I'm missing the show. And it was like the TV was keeping me awake. And once I figured that out, I started reading before bed. And now I'm sleeping like really well. It's amazing. And now am I reading Man 'Cause in War is just dumb sci-fi garbage? Yeah, but it puts me to sleep. It's amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of it is screen versus are you reading on a device?
No, book, dude.
Yeah.
I went to the library and got books like an animal. It's
I will correct you, sir. I say like an elevated human. I don't think an animal at all. In fact, I think there's more value to that. There is something to that, but that's what I'm getting. That's all my algorithm is like how to turn, because all we're doing, especially me, I found myself, I search for chemicals all the time, whether it's like, and the guys listening to this do, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on adult sites, all you're doing there is chasing chemicals and feelings, dopamine dumps, exercise, dopamine dump, chasing chemicals. Like all we do is chase chemicals.
Listen to the radio.
Yeah, chasing chemicals. Like it's just which ones do you want to chase? The good ones? I mean, I put that in air quotes because it can be, what that can mean anything to anybody, right? Do you want to chase the good ones or do you want to chase the bad ones?
And we're a little bit off.
Technically, I like chasing the bad ones. I like chasing alcohol, but
I really want to get back to why Tom's wrong about this because, in my
please,
opinion,
stay on
I
top.
think that your kid, like with zero money or infinite money, the most important thing is to make sure your kids are just right in their heads, no matter what. Because if you're a rich guy and you just work all day and ignore your kids, they're gonna grow up to be monsters. And they're gonna if you're a poor guy and you just drink all day and ignore your kids, they're gonna grow up to be monsters. So I think the important thing is like focusing on them and doing them right and giving them the tools to know how to behave no matter what they have in their life.
No, that's the right answer. It's just I think that's
it's gonna be harder with way more money. Sure.
Well, someone gives me $600 million. Like, yes, my immediate
you're gonna be off riding dirt bikes with Pastrana all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I try it.
Because your goal is okay. No, let's get serious. I'm gonna train my kids. I'm gonna do it the right way. But then you slip, and I'm like, I'm saying I'm not that good. Like, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a palace, and my kids they're in their water park in the backyard, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? Like all of a sudden, and they got Lamborghinis, and they're insanely rich. They've already ruined.
I gave my boy a water park. I gave my boy.
And they don't even care about it, and then it's like, oh my God, I've ruined it, and like just because I'm not that good of
now, would you agree
thing?
that drunk on your white leather couch in your palace, kids are out in their water park, and you are ignoring them, but they're in the water park, still better than abusive dad or ignoring dad, like fully ignoring with no water park?
Here's the thing. I'll go back out there, and they'll just be sitting under the cabana playing Roblox. And I'm like, I turn on the water park.
Turn the water park
I'm like, I have lifeguards, and I'm paying. Like, they're just standing there. It's like a waste. It just and then the waste disgusts me, and I'm like, oh, my God. Anyway.
Fire the guards.
When we were growing up,
fire the lifeguards.
A million years ago, there was a huge premium on imagination. I wonder if that still counts for anything. Does imagination get? I don't know that they've even heard the word in 10 or 15 years.
I think we make fun of imagination now.
Is that what's up?
Yeah. It's like, oh, you got an imagination? You're weak. That's what it seems like. It does seem like imagination is a little more on the effeminate side. And I'm Mr. Imagination, and my daughter looks at me like, you are so effing weak.
We need to bring back the Muppet Babies.
I'm a human Muppet baby. I have the body of a Muppet baby.
It's funny, like,
what if there was a nanny the size of Nanny to them to you? How big she would be? That might be the giant that's coming out of the. What if the giant that comes out of the cross is wearing green striped socks?
All right, so Ross,
yes.
Would you like?
I always had a low key thing for Nanny.
Yeah, dude.
On Muppet Babies, and then they changed Nanny on the new Muppet Babies to that hot girl from SNL.
What's this?
She does the voice.
Really?
If you look up new Nanny, it's a hot girl from SNL or was on SNL. They're messing with me, man. They do that deliberately.
So would you like to tell us your surprise, your explosion of the week? I know we got 8 or 9 more minutes here.
Okay. Let's do explosion of the week.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Let me get the song. Okay, because we haven't played it in a minute.
And again, get your tickets. The funnybone.orlando.com. David Jolly is headlining on Thursday.
Dude,
We'll also be hosting. It's
It's
going to
be a barn burner.
Yeah.
I'm going to run up on that stage and light that place on fire. I'm so excited.
It's going to be crazy. Here we go. Explosion of the week.
We're gonna light it up, gonna make it explode. Feel the heat, watch the flames as they grow. The sparks are flying, we're ready to ignite. With every beat, we're dynamite. Boom, boom, here we go. It's explosion of the week. Get ready for the blast. It's a thrill you cannot see. We're gonna rock this place, turn it up to the max. Feel the energy. It's a fire that can't be tamed.
Explosion of the Week brought to you by Pyrospot Fireworks.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Explosion of the week theme song brought to you by Pyrospot. Yes, that is AI. I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, this is some real power spot explosions here too that we're talking about.
All right,
It's a
okay.
double explosion of the week,
What?
you guys. You know about Los Alamos, right, Tom? When World War II, we're trying to win, and they come up with this secret Manhattan Project to try to win the war by building atomic bombs.
I
basically.
saw Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar. They thought it was going to ignite the atmosphere.
My daughter and I, when we go to the bathroom, we call ourselves Ploppenheimers, and we think that's so funny.
I went to see Barbie instead, so I'm not familiar. But yeah, they did at a certain point. Some of the math seemed to suggest that the chain reaction caused by the fissionable material might just ignite hydrogen in the atmosphere and light our entire planet on fire. And they're like, "Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, roll with it.
Let's see. What's the
love
worst that
that.
could happen?
I love
Well,
that.
the worst that could happen is the entire Earth's atmosphere igniting. Yeah, well, let's just try it and
Yeah,
see."
yeah.
So
Free heat.
in much that same spirit. So they're doing a bunch of experiments and trying to figure this stuff out. And I don't know if you know how these bombs work, Tom, but they take this fissionable material, in this case plutonium.
All right.
They and plutonium ore comes out of the ground. It looks just like, you ever seen like ore of any kind? You got a rock and you got like a little thread of like gold or silver running through it, and they got to refine it, and get the gold out of the rocks.
Give me a Minecraft example. Is it like Obsidian? Or what is it called?
Obsidian?
Obsidian.
Oh my God.
You know how to
did I
get
know that?
you know how to get enough obsidian. You got to break like 1,000,000 rocks to
Okay,
get it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like
Oh,
that. It's
okay.
exactly
Now I
like
understand.
Minecraft in that
Okay.
respect. And so once they get enough plutonium together, they basically, most of the time what they do is they make two like hemispheres out of it, right? Like a half a basketball and another half a basketball, and like you kind of put them in close proximity but not touching. And this is very simplified. If you're any nuclear physicists out there, I'm just trying to explain it to Tom. Relax.
Yeah.
And you set off a bomb on one side or the other of it, and you kind of slam them together, and that produces what a critical reaction, basically. And highly unlikely this would ever happen in nature. It's like a very man-made thing we do. And when that slams together and all that energy goes out, they have a fun little word for that. Tony will like this. They call it an excursion.
Oh my God.
All right.
Jet
all,
skis.
like all this nuclear energies just come together on a cruise ship and decided to go like snorkeling or something. Boom. That's when it blows up. It's called an excursion. So in Los Alamos, they had a bunch of, they were experimenting, they were doing stuff. They had this one plutonium core that eventually became called the Demon Core.
Whoa.
And if you want to look this up on Wikipedia and follow around, Google Demon Core, it'll pop right up. They had two critical accidents with this same core, right? And so the system I just explained, they slam the balls together and cause the explosion. It can also happen in a bunch of different ways. Like you could keep adding material to it until it reaches like a critical point. Or another thing you can do, you can put like blocks, like you put like the sphere in the middle of a table or something.
Sure.
And you put blocks that are reflective, that will reflect the neutrons back to it. That can also increase the criticality and make an excursion happen.
Okay.
So this scientist, they were doing a lot of, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They're playing around. They're
Well, isn't that what you're
Dude.
experimenting, right?
they're full Marie Curie in Los Alamos. And so this guy's like playing with blocks. He's putting blocks around this demon core. And they're neutrino reflective. So he's seeing like if I put a block here, how many more neutrinos get back, and like trying to establish like at what point it would be like too much and reach a critical mass, right?
Okay.
So he's playing with his blocks. He drops a block on the demon core, and it goes. There's an excursion, not like a full.
Oh my God, was he vaporized?
He was not vaporized. He died 25 days later from acute radiation poisoning.
Oh, yeah. That's got.
He
hurt.
knew though. Like, when he dropped that and
Yeah.
something happened, he's like, "Uh-oh,
yeah.
that's gonna be
Sometimes
get me."
you get powers, and sometimes you just poison yourself 25 days later, right?
Yeah.
And
And then
the-
I think it's a horrible death.
Yeah.
Like radiation poisoning. Like you start just dying from the inside. Like if like
I've been
it,
doing that for 47 years.
like it knocks like if
Yeah.
like subatomic.
I think like weird things start happening.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
skin starts peeling, your teeth fall out.
Yeah. Your cells start dying at a rapid
Yeah,
pace.
they start attacking each other.
So the second incident is another scientist is doing some experiments, and he was doing this thing they would do. He had the two halves of the sphere kind of together, and they were like manually like kind of bringing them together and closer and seeing like.
Poke it with a stick.
Dan, don't ruin the joke.
Oh, I'm just screwing around. I apologize.
So they're like kind of manually just like, raising and lowering the sphere towards its, one half towards it and see how many neutrinos escape, how close towards criticality we get.
Yeah.
And they had a standard operating procedure for this, is where it's just that you put some wood shims between them so that like it's never going to slam itself together. And
The old shims. My stepdad was a big fan of shims. He
Really?
has to have a coffee can of shims on his
Really?
workbench. He's a shim crazy.
I'm
He's like,
pretty sure my dad used that as a derogatory term.
he's like,
Yeah.
he just wanted to use shims for everything.
Yeah.
so there was one guy out there who really liked doing this experiment. He would do it a lot. He'd have a bunch of observers in the room and show them off, show it to
Look
them.
at these neutrinos.
And his deal was he didn't use the shims, and he would do the raising and the lowering with just a regular screwdriver. He'd poke a screwdriver there and kind of raise it up and be like, "Look at this,
Oh, yeah, I'm a
lower it
badass.
down. Look at that." And physicist Richard Feynman, a very famous physicist, he compared this experiment to, quote, tickling the tail of a sleeping dragon. And
Well, that actually sounds pretty. I mean, that's like, it's still tickling,
one day, dude's doing this. Screwdriver slips. The two halves of the thing
No.
slam together.
Oh, God.
A flash of light. Core became super critical. And he jams the screwdriver back in and just tries to flip it off.
Oh, okay. I like that. Like
But
when you
he-
drop a burger off the grill. You fly it back on the grill.
He tried the 5-second rule of plutonium core.
You
Yeah.
gotta flip it back on the grill. It's
But
fine.
he died later, too.
9 days later,
Oh,
he radiation
nice.
poisoning. Yeah.
9 days. Oh, that's got to be worse than the 25.
Yeah.
Accelerated.
And then ultimately, so like those two things happen, and they're like, we should just go ahead and make a bomb out of this thing and just
Yeah.
get it
Let's
over
kill
with.
more than we've killed 2. I mean, it's worked well with 2. Let's do
Yeah.
more.
But then they were like, everybody was basically afraid of it after that point, so they melted it down and made like a different core out of it.
No, all right. Yeah. It's amazing how humans throughout the history of time have always effed around with stuff.
Yeah.
This crazy. I guess at the time they had no idea.
At the
Yeah,
time,
but even if we know, it doesn't matter.
You know,
if you brought
like-
a tube of mercury in right now, I would pour that stuff in my hands and
It's
I'd be
so fun.
rolling it all around, and it's so poisonous.
But
But you
this-
just want to do it, right? You just you can't. You don't have a choice.
at the time in like the mid 40s, this was the height of science. This was like
Yeah.
nationally funded. It was to end a world war. There was like more money being poured into this and more brains being poured into this. And it's just some guy with a screwdriver like, look at this. Look at this.
Like, oh, I dropped it.
Yeah.
Oh, the flash of light. I'd be like, I don't think that's good.
But there are an endless sea of videos of people doing exactly the thing you're talking about with just something that's not quite as substantial, right? Like you've seen the videos of the guys doing burnouts, and the guys they're doing like a burnout and it's like shooting flames.
Yeah,
And then he dumps the gas, and the whole thing just goes, oh! Like it just not killing, but burning everybody at the party. It's just like that's what you do.
But every
You take
idiot
it up a
has a
notch.
car. This is like they turned on the Large Hadron Collider and they're like, what can we throw a salami in there, see what happens,
Yeah, I mean, it is nuts. You'd think that just because of what could happen, there would be more safety, but no one really knew.
Yeah. You mess around and you find out. And that's science.
Yeah, that's why it's scary about like AI, and people are like, "Oh yeah, well, the people will be cautious." But like I'm pretty sure some rich guys experimenting with some AI, building like mega computers.
I'm in the machine. Okay, go ahead. Start her up and see if it makes me a robot overlord god. Yeah, there's somebody doing that right now.
No, it's fine. The AI can't take over as long as I keep this screwdriver right in here.
Yeah, you never let go.
Oh, yeah, everybody's just effing around. All right, Ross. Well, thanks for coming by.
Appreciate you, man.
Funnybone.orlando.com.
You guys done with me? I booked the whole day. Well,
you can stick around for our BDM show later.
Stick around.
I'll tell you what. You guys subscribe to Tom Dan BDM right now, and I got a challenge for Tom in the BDM show.
I love a good challenge.
So the BDM show is live on our BDM Facebook page. Also, to be out later today if you are a member, out on the app or the website. We've got a BDM only party coming up on April 20th, and all the BDMs will get that information. So we hope to see everybody there.
If you agree with Tom and you think too much money will ruin your kids, I will take your money for you. No problem.
There you go.
All right. We will see you in a minute.
Got it.
Perfect.
Great job, y'all. Did that thing ever pop up? It didn't, did it?
No, yeah, but that's fine.
I'll get it. All right, so that is Monday, 1 and 2. What are we doing now?
Well, I don't know if you want to stick around that long to the BDM show because we do it after lunch. We could do lunch a little earlier, but that's like, I'd stick around for a while. We could do another segment.
Or we could just do it and take a late lunch if you want.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
just do.
I hate
don't want to mess you guys' day up.
No, there's no messing it up. I gotta pee real fast though.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it's for the, we usually do it at 1, but we could do the BDM show early. Might as well just get it over with. I think we're
It's good with me. It's good for you.
Yeah. Let's do the BDM show early. Okay. Because we got some shit we could talk about. Plus, you could tell us the surprise, and so And then you don't have to stick around for like the OG recap or anything like that. You just do the BDM show.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna pee.
What are we gonna do?
I figured we'll just do the BDM show early.
Okay, you want me to switch over now?
Yeah, I might as well just switch over now. Just tell Twitch we're switching over. We'll just do it. It'll be a way later lunch, but might as well just get it over with, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's fine with me. What up, y'all? So we are going to head over to we're gonna jump over to Facebook right now and go ahead and do a little BDM and OG show. But thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. That was fun, and we'll see